My experience in the military was really good because it was the first time I had stability in my life. Prior to that, I didn't know what it was like to be stable, and I really enjoyed being in the military. It was the best experience in my life until I got injured, and after that, it was not the best experience. When I was in the military, I jumped out of a plane, and when I jumped out of the plane, I became what is called a toad jumper. And in civilian terms, basically I was flapping on the outside of an airplane because I got stuck in the static line. So that caused me to flap around outside of the plane. I was able to push off and get away and land safely, and pretty much thought everything was okay. But then later on I started coughing up blood and started having problems walking. So I had a traumatic chest injury, and my lung kept collapsing, and they kept reinflating it, and eventually they took out half of my lung. And so that was removed, and then I also had an injury to my groin, which made it difficult to walk. So really my injury led to my addiction, because for the course of about a year I was on just about every pain medication there was, and unfortunately at the time we didn't have the education we have now. I got put on what's called temporary retirement, and they basically sent me home to live. And when I came home, it was back to all of the people that I was with prior to going in the military, except for now I was getting paid and I was getting a generous supply of opiates, and all the people that I grew up with were not healthy, functioning people. Early recovery was great. The first year was amazing because, for one, after my injury, I was told I wouldn't be physical again. I ended up running a Spartan race up and down the East Coast. I did everyone from Georgia up to Maine within my first year of sobriety. I didn't struggle it really. I mean, there was difficult times, but they weren't that difficult as long as I was open-minded and willing to take suggestions and follow what was suggested of me, right? They told me to go to sober living, so I just went to sober living. Told me to go to meetings, I went to meetings. It just was really easy if I followed the directions that were given to me, and I really enjoyed it. I learned how to have relationships. I had relationships still today with the same people, and got to experience stuff I never had. All the things I wanted to do while watching TV and getting high, I actually got to do. The Military and Veterans Recovery Program is a program for veterans and active duty members built around the unique needs that we have. So the levels of care that we have at Banyan cover from detox to residential to partial to IOP and to outpatient for our veteran community. And then for the active duty military, what we've been able to do with some of the bases is create a PHP, a partial level of care, and an IOP level of care that works in conjunction with the service member's schedule and their command. And then we also have an eating disorder program that's a partial level of care for veterans and active duty military. I had the opportunity before I joined Banyan, when COVID hit, where I was at asked me to take over their first responders program, and I said if I could turn it into a veterans program, I would. So I had the experience of building out a program that would meet our unique needs that the veterans bring to the table. So when I joined Banyan, I got to bring that, and having 14 facilities to implement that program, which it's unique in that there's different parts, right? We know veterans have trauma, and not all of it is related to military service. A lot of it is prior to the military. So we found a new modality of treatment for that, which we introduced. We have that as part of our program. We make sure the veterans have their own little space. They have groups together on their own. And we work collaboratively with the VA to make sure that they stay engaged in care when they leave. So that way it's like a continuum. Some of these benefits veterans have, I wish my regular clients would have. Life today for me is fuller than I ever imagined it would be. Never thought that I wanted what I have, right? I have a wonderful job, work for a great organization that allows me to travel around, help fellow veterans. I get to do a lot of veterans advocacy, which is important because I didn't have a lot of the support that is out there now, and it would have made a difference for me, but I get to do that. I actually found someone who wanted to marry me, so I'm married, I own a house. Prior to getting sober, I was living in graduate housing, but I wasn't a graduate student, and now I actually own a house, you know? So whatever I want to do, I'm able to do today, and I don't have to like dream and wish that I would do it. I know I can do it. If you are a loved one or struggling, please call us today.